Hello everyone and welcome to Hanafuda with Alton. This is the channel where we do pick a card readings using Hanafuda cards. So if you have been following me, you would know that I took a little bit of a pause from YouTube and now I'm back. And I can't tell you how great that little YouTube holiday I gave myself was. I highly recommend it. If any of you are feeling really stressed out or burnt out, and if you need that reminder to take your rest, this is your reminder. Do that for yourself. I mean, I feel so great after that rest and feel really rejuvenated and ready to come back with new inspiration, new insights, new ideas. So, yeah, that rest was super helpful. And I think that everybody needs rest from time to time. That is a reminder for myself as much as it is for any of you out there who are like me, who find it a little bit difficult to take our pauses from work. So, today's reading, as you can tell from the title, we are going to look at your November 2023 predictions. So on this channel, I'm using Hanafuda cards, which are these cards that you see up top here. And they are actually Japanese playing cards. And the literal translation for Hanafuda into English is flower cards because there are many depictions of flowers and also trees and grasses on these cards. And I have more information about what the Hanafuda is in the description box below, so go ahead and check that out if you're curious. And if not, and you want to jump into your reading, we are going to dive into all of the messages, meanings, all of what all of this means in the reading itself, so not to worry. And in this November 2023 prediction, we have four piles for you today. We have pile 1 with the chrysanthemum and tanzaku card, as well as a pyrite. We have pile 2 with the desert rose, as well as this gaji card. And this card is called Gaji. There's lightning striking through it. It's a very cool card. I'm really excited to share what this is about with you. In pile 3, we have this Satyaloka quartz, as well as the bush warbler and plum blossom card in reverse. And don't worry about what the reversal means. I will dive into that in your reading. And pile 4, we have a turquoise as well as the cherry blossom card. So feel free to pause the video here if you'd like to just take a bit more time to look and connect with all of the crystals and the cards over here. And once you're ready, click on the timestamp for your pile in the description box below, and I will see you at your reading. Hi pile 1, welcome to your reading. So it is actually raining where I am right now, so if you hear a little bit of pitter-patter or some thunder, lightning, which was happening right before this, just know that it's raining, okay? So yeah, let's jump into your reading. And I was shuffling your Hanafuda cards, and this one actually came out flipped out, so that's why it's face up here. And yeah, let us open up the rest of your cards and we'll dive into the messages. So the first card is, of course, you have the chrysanthemum and tanzaku. And then you have deer and the maple in reverse. Okay, you have pine. This is the pine tree in reverse as well. Okay, you have another chrysanthemum card. This is chrysanthemum and the sake cup. So chrysanthemum, the essence of chrysanthemum flower is definitely speaking really strongly to you. And very interestingly, you have yet another pine card, and this is also in reverse. Ooh. Okay, so I also have these 2 oracle cards to clarify the overall messages for November, so let us check them out. We have disruption, and then we also have balance. What a really interesting change of energies going on for you here. So what I'm hearing for you, pile number 1, is that some of you, or maybe many of you, are feeling very out of flow with life. It kind of just feels like things aren't really moving. You're not really feeling aligned. It's like maybe the cash isn't flowing, or relationships aren't really going forward in the way that you would have hoped them to be. Maybe it's career, there are issues at your work that are keeping you kind of like stuck in a certain place, and that is creating a lot of frustration inside of you, where it's like, yeah, you have this destination in mind and you're trying to get there, but the energies just don't seem to be flowing. And that is why Spirit is saying that disruption is needed. I'm hearing that for some of you, you might be a little bit afraid to make some changes with your life, because a part of it is like, we're not really sure, like, where do we want to go? We're not really sure what is the right move to make to improve this situation. And although I think you do know that this change is needed, but it's a question mark, like, well, what do I need to change? What is the most important thing that I need to bring into my life right now? And I feel that we're going to get some of those answers in your reading. Now, I want to talk about these two chrysanthemum cards because they're calling out to me now. The chrysanthemum card connects us to, or rather the chrysanthemum flower, it connects us to our ancestors and our DNA. And they really remind us of who we are and what we are born with, our innate essence. And that is the state of being inside of you that is so natural. Like, have you ever gone through, like, if you ever been on like a holiday where, even if you're not like traveling, but like just taking really a time off for yourself and just not doing anything. And yes, there may be a bit of time for you to get used to this new no agenda kind of schedule and just, flowing with the day. But then eventually we get into a certain flow where you don't have to plan out the whole day, what you need to do, and, fill up your entire schedule with all of these different things. And yet the day still flows. So I think that is one thing that Spirit is encouraging you to do, especially if you've never done that for yourself before. Just take a day or two off and don't fill anything on your schedule. Just keep them empty and experience what it's like to flow with the day. It's not about doing, it's not about trying to do something, it's about being here. And the beingness is the medicine that I feel that you really, really need now, because it's going to help you to reestablish flow. I feel that a lot of you have been working really hard and you've been really pushing forward, but it's just like, what's not working? What needs to go? And for us to let go of something and bring in new energy, we do need to clear up our space, right? We do need to, let's say you want to bring in new clothes into your wardrobe, then you need to clear out your wardrobe, especially if there's no space in your closet anymore. Let's say you want to go into a new career, you like take on like a new skills for a new career path, then we do need to, maybe it is about making time in our schedule to invest into taking certain classes. Maybe it is about taking that leap of faith to leave our current job and go into a new job that helps us to build those skills that we want to have. So we do need to make space for that. And I think one thing that's really coming through for you is to just have a no agenda day or two and allow that energy to flow. And I think you're going to get a lot of insights from that experience. Now, with the Deer and Maple card in reverse, this is really the energy that has been going on for you where things feel stuck. And the maple, like the changing of seasons, they represent flow, they represent change. And when this card is in reverse, yeah, there is an energy of certain kind of stuckness and resistance keeping you in a certain place. Now, the other message that's coming through from this card is that Spirit is speaking to you. You are being supported. Your guides are there with you. And I think that if you ever feel like you're so alone and you're not receiving any insights and messages, and you feel that kind of like you've been forsaken kind of energy, feeling that you've been abandoned by Spirit or by someone, Spirit wants you to know right now that they're always there with you. And the only difference that you need to make in your life is to listen to the messages from Spirit. And sometimes listening to those messages can be a little bit unlike what we usually do, because maybe we're always at work and it's constantly like dealing with different colleagues, different work issues, and maybe we can't really feel, spirit and the divine in those places. So we're encouraged, interestingly, to recognize and acknowledge the divine in every single place in our lives. And that's going to help us feel a lot more connected. Because I think the fact that you're here at a pick a card reading means that you do wish to have some form of spiritual connection, or spirituality is already a big part of your life. And it's all about expanding that awareness and consciousness to see the divine in every single person, even in, let's say, the people that we don't like or the situations that we really don't like. Where is the divine present, even in a really challenging situation? That is the message coming through here. Now, the last thing, which is these two pine cards, and I kind of feel that they are connected to this balance card here, especially with this green energy and pine, of course, being this evergreen tree. Balance. What needs to balance out? I feel that there may be something that is a bit too much in your life, and then something that's not enough. And so those energies are off. Yeah, they're just off right now. It's not in alignment, basically. And pine is inviting us to think about, or rather feel, not think, especially if you're an overthinker. Maybe it's time to use your heart to feel and experience. And also, of course, think. We have to use every single part of our senses. Think, feel, experience, be. What do we really want to create in our lives? And I think the imbalance that's coming through for you, maybe because we are kind of like following a certain mold that people have always placed on us, or it's the default. Like, let's say the default thing in your life is for people to shop a lot. Like your parents love shopping, or the people around you shop a lot, and maybe shopping is something that doesn't really, like, the kind of like spending habits, maybe it's not something that's working out for you now. So what needs to come into balance? Maybe it is recognizing that, hey, you know what? I can love to shop, and I can love going out and seeing new things. And I can also learn to save my coin. I can learn like things about financial literacy, and those two things can come together. It doesn't mean you have to shop less, it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy shopping anymore. It simply means that, hey, something needs to come up here to support whatever you need in your life. And so this is something that's a lot more nuanced, and it's not as simple as saying like, oh, I want work-life balance means that I'm going to cut down on work and increase the life aspect. It's not like that. It's that, yeah, you can love working, you can love and invest the time and your energy into your work, your passion projects, your side hustles, and do all of that. And if you're feeling really drained and you're feeling like self-care, me time is not enough, then we need to bring that up in a way that works for us, such that we feel fulfilled with our work and we feel fulfilled with our life. And it kind of feels like you don't have to let go of anything that you don't want to let go of. There are things that you have to let go of, yes, that's definitely coming through. And there are also things that we are here to keep our commitments with. And so this is something that really needs a little bit of like reflection here. Like, what is something that you really want to keep in your life? Is it, let's say, spending time outside of work to work on your side hustles, your passion projects? If that is you, and the after work hours are also important for you to rejuvenate and have your me time, well, what is the solution here? What can we do to move things around to still create that balance of energies overall without compromising on our goals, our manifestations? I hope that makes sense for you. So, because I think it's kind of nuanced, and I can't really give like a concrete or a grounded example, because everybody will have a different version of what this balance is for them. So I gave a few examples, and I hope it makes sense for you. So let us bring these two cards together, and we're gonna open up our oracle cards, which I have already pre-shuffled. So let's see what other messages are coming through for pile number 1. We have number 6, leadership with broccoli. cute. Hang on, let me just organize this a little bit. And then we have number 31 with luck, the line. It's really interesting that you have a lot of green energy. One message that's coming through is that disruption is pink. And I think that you may be a little bit scared of disruption because maybe to you the energy is red, it's fiery, it's like bam, disruption, and it kind of feels really intimidating. But look at this pink, hot pink energy here. It's not that intense, like just disruption. You get what I mean? Like the energy of disruption is change that is much needed for you, and this change is something that you're going to enjoy. All right, so let us look at our next oracle cards. We have number 6 and number 31. So this is 4 and 6 if any of you are, if that means something to any of you. Leadership. I think you're stepping into the next level of your life. And this next level of your life requires has different rules, and so it has different, you got to play it differently. It's a totally different ball game, and maybe that is why we are not so sure like what else is needed in this phase of my life. I'm also hearing that for some of you, actually, you recently stepped up into a leadership position, be it in your career, or maybe it's even in family where you had to step up to, let's say, to lead people in, let's say, caring for an elderly person in the family. And that often happens where, someone has to take the charge and like decide on the hospital situation. How do we best take care of this family member? And you're placed in a leadership position. And I think it's uncomfortable for you now because it's totally new. So this is the learning lesson now, and Spirit wants to say that you're in the right place at the right time. If you're questioning like, hey, am I really the one to do this? Is this really my calling? Am I really the right person for this job? You are. You are in the right place. It is the right time for you. And this is the learning journey for you now. So it's actually a good thing, like you do deserve your leadership. You do deserve to be a leader. And if you ever feel unworthy, that's not what people are telling you, and that's more likely you telling yourself that, and you projecting that maybe into like what other people are reflecting back on you, stemming from some self-esteem and self-worth. I don't want to say the word issues, but the word issues is coming up. Well, I guess it is an issue, but it's not like, I don't want you to like freak out as well. It's a self-worth conversation perhaps to have with yourself. Like, where do I find myself to be unworthy? Where do I find myself to be lesser than? Where do I reject myself and reject the divine in me? And that's a really important conversation to have for yourself. Luck is in your life. You are lucky. And I think you feel like, how did I get here? And like, do I deserve this? And yeah, all of these like deserve, worth kind of conversations. And you kind of feel like you lucked out and therefore you don't deserve this thing. Like you didn't have to work for it. But luck didn't come to you for no good reason. You created this luck. You planted the seeds, and this thing which other people look at you and go like, "Ooh, that person is so lucky." But deep down, you know that you planted the seeds of this luck. You created your reality, and we're responsible for every single aspect of our reality. So own the luck, own it. You totally deserve it. Pile number 1. All right. So let us check our next 2 cards. We have a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. I love that. Maybe it is that self-worth issue where we're really feeling like a different person and feeling like we really own this leadership, and we're now really being able to step into that position with more clarity, with more confidence. And so that maybe this personal issue that comes into a conclusion for you. The next card is don't let your past hold you back, South Node, which I feel is really apt for everything that we've been talking about so far in this reading. How has past self-worth conversations been affecting you? How have certain patterns in the past been holding you back? And the really important thing to recognize is that let's say, for instance, and I'm talking about this balance card here, I mean, the messages that came through from the balance card. Let's say in the past you worked 6 hours a day, and after that you could do your own thing, let's say. And then now, being in this new position, you have more responsibilities, so you end up having to work 8-9 hours a day, and then you have lesser time for other activities in your life. And we may feel out of balance because it's like, oh, my lifestyle has changed so much. But maybe that's what's needed. Maybe that is the 9-hour workday is what's needed for you to be able to grasp all of the new things that you're doing, have a bit more time and space to figure things out at work, and feel good about the work that you're doing. And I want to say that, like, just because you work more doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. And especially, I'm also redefining what work means for myself, where it's not just about the 9 to 5 or the corporate, but when I talk about work, it is your life's work, right? The work that you want to contribute to this world. Maybe you have a side hustle and that requires you to have more time. Maybe you have passion projects, you have spiritual activities, hobbies, things that you want to do to really level up yourself. And that is perhaps what is needed for you to do the work to get your life to the place that you want it to be. So in the past, 6 hours or whatever it is worked out for you. And in today, that system, that framework can't be applied into this new hardware that you have right now. So we got to change the system. We got to change the way that we do things. And that is why this shift is happening. This disruption is happening. And it's all for a good outcome eventually, because it's a leveling up. It's an increase in your capacity, your ability as a person, as a leader, your ability to create even better things in your life. So enough of that. Let us go into our next couple of cards. We have number 24, the Wooden Roots, Respect, Survival, Liberation, and Freedom. And then we have number 33, Opening Circle, Protection, Ritual, Lessons, and Simplicity. So I don't know why, but when I look at this card, I feel like leadership in this card. Like in a group of people, you are the leaders. You are the leader of your life. You are free to make those choices and decisions for yourself and be that leader. And I think this leadership in your life right now, which is awakening in the month of November, is giving you more freedom and more liberation. Because once maybe we were learning the ropes of something and we had to take orders from other people, we had to listen to their instructions, and there was a time and place for that because we're still learning. And now, as we step into this leadership position, we're free. We're free to explore what this means for us. And we have learned the foundation of what it means, let's say, to be a chef. You've already done the work to cut the veggies, to prepare the meats. You know how this thing works. And you have the freedom to then play, okay, how else can I innovate and create new things using the foundational tools and knowledge that I have? Same goes for at work. Maybe you spend time working on the sales floor and you have been learning all of the basics from cold calling, how do you speak to prospects, how do you close sales one-on-one and things like that. And now that you have learned all the ropes, you can then step into a leadership position. People trust you and you trust yourself to do this job well. And in this leadership position, you're also learning how to pass on that knowledge to other people. There's an energy of passing things on for you right now. It's creating this next generation of people who can learn from you. Be that your team or I'm also hearing like YouTube for some instance. If you guys want to do things on social media, if that's your calling, yeah, go for it. That's also coming through here, where maybe you want to share your skills and your knowledge over on YouTube or create an online course. That is a totally different ballgame from being a student on the chef's room. I mean, what do you call it? A kitchen or the sales floor or whatever it is. It's a totally different ballgame. So Spirit is saying that you don't have to feel too bad about where you're at right now because it's different and it's okay. You're doing okay. Paul number 1. All right. So with opening circle, rich protection, ritual, lesson, simplicity. I think these are some energies that are really going to support you. First of all, protection. You have a dream. You have a goal. Protect that. Maybe now's not the time to tell every single person what you want to do in your big plans because, there are a lot of external influences and opinions that could get in the way. Protect your dreams now. And ritual. I think ritual is going to help you a lot, especially if you have like a morning ritual, an evening ritual, to just really wind down, really create that moment of sanctuary and peace to connect deeply with the divine within you, because you're following a path, you're following a calling now. And I think that a lot of it is like intuition now. It's like, I feel that I want to do this. I have this idea, this inkling. I don't really know what it takes to do this new project, but I feel this calling and I'm going to do it. And this like following of the intuition could be a little bit uncomfortable and unfamiliar to you. And so creating space for connection and just connection with the divine and with yourself through ritual is really going to help you. And of course, we mentioned you are learning certain lessons in leadership, lessons of overall, how do you level up your life, and simplicity is an energy that you may want to really incorporate in your life. It's not about overcomplicating things. It's not about having the fanciest website or social media or the fanciest videos, especially when you're starting out. Maybe just doing something simple first. It's just going to make more sense for you. It's going to like take away a lot of the additional stress that you don't need in starting this new project or this new journey. And over time, you're going to build the capability, you're going to build the hardware for it. Like somebody who has been in business for like 10 years, they have probably had many different versions of their website already. And so they have gone through a phase. So you're looking at people's websites and going like, oh my God, they have such great websites. Where am I going to, let's say, find the money or the time to create a website that looks so amazing like theirs? And know that they had a lot of time, 10 years, to improve on this product that you see at the end of the day. And you got to start at the place that you're at. And we're not going to spend 10 years building a website, like you're going to launch with a simple idea, a simple but good idea, and go with it. I think that's really something that Spirit is saying to you right now. Okay, so let us see our last 2 cards. These are divine abundance affirmations that Spirit would like you to know. So the first is sanctity. Through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. Yes, so especially if you have questions, if you have certain doubts or fears, creating that space for ritual, like in the morning, like when you're doing your morning prayers or your morning meditation, just meditating on that question in your heart, meditating on that problem will give you insights, because Spirit is really, really speaking to you right now. And there's so much wisdom and messages coming through from you, from your spirit guide. So you really need to pay attention and listen. And in the busyness of the day, it may be difficult to do that. So ritual will help you identify and really hear those messages. And the next card is trust. Allow me, divine, to give you my deepest longings, trusting you to know exactly how to handle them. So you are really walking the path of that intuitive, really going with the flow right now. And it's not easy. It's not what you're comfortable, familiar with. And so trust that you know what to do. Trust that inner voice that speaks to you. Trust in Spirit that is always guiding you. Trust in the plan that is somehow written in the stars, written in all of the lives and experiences that we've had, that is guiding you forward. This energy of love pushing all of us forward in this life, in this world that we all share. So there's something bigger protecting you and creating space for you, is what I'm hearing. And trust that this energy is there for you. So pile number 1, that is what I see for your reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. I would like to thank Hanafuda Magic, my teachers and guides, for coming through with these amazing messages and wisdom. And if you like this reading and would like to hear more from me, I would really appreciate if you subscribed or like this video. It really helps out this channel. And if you would like to work with me on a private basis, I am offering personal readings, so feel free to check out the link in the description box below to book a reading with me. So thank you so much again, pile number 1, for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in a future reading. Bye! Hello everyone, and welcome to your November 2023 predictions reading. So I've already shuffled out a couple of cards, Hanafuda and of course Oracle cards, to clarify the overall message for you in the month of 2023, November. So let us get into your reading. Of course, the first card is the Gaji card, which you pick at the start of the reading, and we're gonna dive into those messages. The second card we have is the card of Suzuki grass in reverse. And Suzuki grass, if you don't know what it is, it's also known as pampas grass or silver grass. And it's that like feathery, wispy looking grass that you see in autumn. And then we also have pine in reverse. And finally, we have plum blossom in the upright position. This is so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay. So, first of all, the energy of this... Oh wait, let us open up your 2 clarifiers before we go ahead. So we have love. Aw, this is so cute. Okay, love and reflection. Okay. So pile number 2, what I am sensing here is that a lot of you may feel quite frustrated with how life is at the moment. And some of you may even be feeling quite angry at the situation or angry at the people in your life. And if you're not angry, I'm also feeling that there's some repressed anger as well. So that could be you, being frustrated, feeling angry, or having those repressed feelings that maybe we're not ready to acknowledge, or we're just not comfortable with feeling them and allowing them to be expressed. And yeah, it kind of just feels like nothing is going your way, or that you feel that. And things just seem to be bumping heads almost. It's like, I want to do this, but every single time I try, I'm hitting a wall. And Spirit wants to say that that's not really what's going on, because we see here we have the card of love. There is an energy of love guiding you forward here in this situation, where we're being guided into a better place ultimately. And I know this seems so abstract, because we're really being called at the same time to really trust and know that whatever doesn't work for us is God's protection for us. What would they call that? Rejection is God's protection. So, I just hit my camera, but okay. This card, the Gaji card, as you can see here, this card has this lightning, and it has all of this like tornado and a storm, a water spout, and it looks really intense. This card is one of the most intense looking cards in Hanafuda, and like most of the cards have like a white colored background, but this one is red, so it instantly looks very different. And this card sometimes can show up in the divination reading to tell us that there's a path that perhaps, if especially we're asking should I go down this path, this card shows up to say that, hey, this path actually is going to have a lot more resistance. There may be a different option for you. So that is what I'm feeling for your pal. We may be trying to go down, a few different ways. And I kind of feel that your pal has been trying, and things just don't seem to be working out because those are not the right paths for you. And the very cool thing in your reading is that we also have the plum blossom and the bush warbler. And this card symbolizes hope. So if you're feeling especially that, I've been trying so much and there's no hope left, this card is Spirit's reminder to you that there is still hope. In the grand scheme of things, you are on the right path. You are on the right track. And the bumps that you are experiencing now, or you may even feel that they are failures. The failures that you experience now are giving you certain experiences and certain lessons, certain wisdom that's going to help you. And overall, it's just there's a feeling that there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're going through some of these things, and it's not just because you got unlucky or it's just some kind of like coincidence. It's not. There is a reason why you're experiencing these things. So plum blossom and bush warbler talks about hope, because the plum blossom, this flower, it blooms during the winter, end of winter, start of spring. So it really symbolizes that whatever long winter that we've been going through, spring is coming. So things are shifting for you and there is hope. Now, so we come to these two cards in the middle, and I feel that this is your journey. It's like this situation has been like going on and you've been trying a lot, and then these two cards are the journey that you're going through in November, and I'm also feeling December. Because actually this card is, the plum blossom card corresponds to the month of February. So take timing with a pinch of salt, of course, because this is a general reading, but things could start shifting for you in the February-March period where we start to see spring, where the spring season comes again. So these two cards here, the first thing that I'm hearing with the Suzuki grass card is boundaries. How have we been neglecting the boundaries in our lives? Maybe as we are trying to do this thing, we have been allowing certain energies to just come in. Maybe there's a lack of boundary with how we prioritize our self-care, or maybe there's a lot of boundaries with the kind of people we allow into our lives. So there is an important message here about boundaries. I'm also feeling that you want to feel protected, and maybe you don't feel protected at the moment, especially with the things that you have been going through. It's like there are a lot of interferences. I'm hearing that Spirit is saying that you may want to create a protection spell around yourself. And I don't know much I don't know much about protection spells, so I would encourage you to look that up if that's something that resonates with you. Doing a protection spell or a ritual to help you feel more safe in where you are. And also taking the real life precautions to be and feel more safe. Maybe there are people that you don't want them to know about your personal life anymore. Maybe we need to clean up our social media friends list or followers list on Instagram, on Facebook and things like that, where we don't want to share every single thing with everyone. Maybe some people need to go and they don't need to know about the stuff that we're doing. Either removing them or blocking them, that's up to you. There's an energy here about needing to feel more protected, and yeah, that is something that I think you guys will be doing in November. Now with the pine card, the first thing that I hear as I was tapping on that card is renew your commitments. Pine corresponds to the month of January. So it's kind of interesting. We have like January and February here, and this one is an August card. So maybe for some of you, this situation started happening in August. Relationships, icky energy really I'm feeling just started to enter into your life, and like relationship breakdowns. So it wasn't great. It wasn't great. So now with the pine card, the message here is to reevaluate our commitments. And I think this really relates well with the reflection card, to reflect on what do we say we wanted to do in 2023? At the start of 2023, did you make some resolutions? Did you make some goals? And I know it's November now. We may feel that November, isn't that too late for me to look at my 2023 resolutions? But these are the things that you've had in mind. And if they are going to be the same or similar goals that you're going to be working on in 2024, it's time to review them to see like, hey, what are some achievements that I've already enjoyed? Like how can I celebrate some of my successes? Because when we don't recognize our achievements, we may feel constantly in a space of lack. And when in actual fact, we've already achieved certain things and we're not really in that bad of a place. So first of all, there is a need to celebrate. Like what did you do well? And then there may be some goals where you're like, yeah, you know what? I've been working on this one for this year, and it doesn't seem to be, I don't seem to be getting closer to my target. So what's not working? What needs to shift? What needs to change? And just have that objective, real conversation with yourself, because it's when we work on our goals by ourselves, we may get quite emotional, and the emotions can cloud our judgment about what is really going on. And so when something is not going right, we may end up starting to beat ourselves up. We may feel really just triggered, just triggered by the emotions, and all we can see and feel are the emotions, and we can't see beyond, what is really going on. So as you review that list, that is the opportunity to almost like have a business meeting with yourself, but with yourself, instead of like being in a meeting room with your colleagues or whatever, have that business meeting with yourself. Because if your boss is having a meeting with you, they're not going to be like, hey, let's talk about that. Why are you so angry? Or, like most of the time, in a business setting, we would just get straight into like the business and talk about what is going on with what's wrong, how can we improve? And that is the kind of conversation that you want to have with yourself. And of course, it is important to acknowledge your feelings too. That is the missing piece that a lot of corporates in like the 9 to 5 or whatever don't really have. Like, we don't really acknowledge our emotions, and you can do that for yourself. And what is the missing piece for you is to have that objective business conversation and like, hey, I didn't hit this goal, I didn't hit this target. What went wrong? What needs to shift? And it's not about blaming yourself, it's not about blaming anyone, it's just finding a solution. That is it. Okay, so pile number 2, this is the energy. And I just want to point out again that there's so much love. Look at this. It's even this blue card for you is so beautiful. It's like this, like almost like baby blue color. It's just, I'm also hearing you're well taken care of. You are, you are protected, you are safe, and you are well taken care of by spirit. And there is an energy of love, big time, coming through in your life. And it could be really romantic love, but I'm also feeling that it's love in general, just this love for life. And it's kind of like this energy that blankets you, and it's really, really comfortable. Okay, so let us check out your oracle cards to see what else is going on. We have number 24 with agreement, strawberry. And number 16, memory. Okay, so the agreement card can relate to like business agreements, signing certain contracts, making agreements with other people. So certain things, especially if you have been trying to manifest certain kind of like deals, or maybe trying to close some kind of contracts with people for your business, or even if it's for your side hustle, your passion project, some of these things may start to come to fruition in the month of October, in the month of November. So pay attention and really celebrate your successes when they happen, because you have been praying for these things to happen for a long time. And the second part about agreement is agreement with ourselves. Are we keeping our agreements with ourselves? When we say we're going to do something, do we really do it, or do we end up procrastinating? Every time we say that we're going to do something and we end up procrastinating, either because we give ourselves some kind of reason or some excuse, we end up losing rapport with ourselves. We lose the trust and the confidence with ourselves to see things through, because we don't have a track record that we can fall back on to know that, hey, you know what? This person or this part of me is reliable. So working on keeping your agreements to yourself is important. I think something that may help for you, especially if you feel very overwhelmed a lot of the time, and therefore when it comes to the time when you're supposed to do certain thing, you may procrastinate. Just remember, well, this is something that my teacher told me, my spiritual teacher, is to under promise, over deliver. So that way we wouldn't get faced with certain disappointments, or with other people, with ourselves. So set more realistic goals for yourself, and know that, let's say I wanted to do task number 1 today, and I also wanted to do task number 2, maybe what I can do is to really just schedule a time to say, you know what, I'm going to do task number 1. It seems like I have time for that today and I'm going to do it well. And when you're doing task number 1, you may find that, oh my God, I can finish it in a much quicker time. And then I can take on task number 2. And then you'll feel better overall. It's like more like a strategy, almost like to trick yourself to thinking that you're doing well with your time, with how you're managing things. And instead of like trying to pile every single thing on your plate and trying to figure out everything in like a matter of like hours or days and constantly feeling overwhelmed, by cutting down on your plate, you're not less capable. And in fact, you may end up creating more space to do unexpected things that will support your career in the long run. So with memory number 16, I'm feeling that there's some kind of like healing that needs to take place for you guys with regards to things in the past. It could be a memory of how, like, people have broken their agreements with you, and this feeling of being betrayed, of having people fall out in your life, like relationships fall out. Some healing perhaps need to take place with regards to certain challenging or traumatic events that happened to us in the past. And I'm specifically referring to the traumatic or challenging events that are currently affecting us the most right now. So I think one thing that is quite obvious now is with regards to trust. Maybe you need to heal trust if that's something important to you. I'm also hearing healing with regards to faith, which faith is kind of similar to trust. It's like having the trust with yourself and also having trust with other people. It kind of feels like we don't really trust ourselves and we don't trust other people. And there may be a part of you that doesn't really trust the divine as well. Like, we don't really trust that things are going to work out, that everything is going to be fine, and that we're going to be well taken care of, that we're going to be protected, yada, yada, yada. We feel that we're not. So that kind of like memory, those like memories may start showing up for you in the month of November, and know that when they show up, it is a sign that you are ready for that healing. Now let us check out our next few cards. We have your commitment is being tested, first quarter moon. Okay, very interesting. And then we have nothing will come of this situation, void of course, moon. So whatever it is that you're worried about, first and foremost, nothing will come of the situation. So my teacher also always says that worrying is a prayer for the future. So we don't want to be praying for things that we don't want to happen. We don't want to be stuck in the space of worry and anxiety. So know that nothing will come of that situation. It's going to be fine. And your commitment is being tested. So it's time to review that 2023 resolutions list. It's a long-term game. Even though the year is ending, it doesn't mean that things are over. It doesn't mean that the energies are not gonna, that nothing else is gonna change or shift this situation. In fact, it continues on. So you can even really start to think about what you want to do in 2024 and begin to plan out your vision board or your what do you call it, your resolutions for 2024, and just start dreaming. And now, even in November, it's still game time. It's still time for you to keep at it with your commitments, with your agreements with yourself. I'm hearing that maybe some of you are feeling quite tired because it's been a full year. It's been a full year of like going at this thing, and you're like, oh, do I really still need to go ahead? And be kind to yourself is what Spirit is saying. I mean, there are so many facets to how this thing can pan out for you, Like, just because your commitment is being tested doesn't mean that 100% of 100% of the time needs to be spent, with testing your commitment. You do need time for rest too. You do need time to rejuvenate, to recharge, and all of those things are important. So give yourself space. You do have time. Pile number 2, actually. You do have time. And when you create less overwhelm in your life and more flexibility, more spontaneity, and also more room for you to feel comfortable with what you're doing instead of feeling rushed. That may be very counterintuitive to you, especially if you're a workaholic and you're always trying to get everything done. But when you actually create more space, you may be surprised at how much more productive you can be. I hope that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is that Spirit was like, clarify that, please. What I'm trying to say is that when we're not stressed out all the time, when we're not rushed, we can actually be more productive. Because think about it, when you're like constantly stressed and rushed and feeling that, you know, we have to catch the next train, we can't even like do one thing properly, but without feeling that I have to like catch the next train. And then it affects the outcome in this task that you're doing. And then we move on to the next one feeling incomplete, feeling really burnt out, really stressed out, and feeling like our mind is in a million places at once. So when we focus, on our mind to just what is manageable, then we can do those things well. And I think you'll find that you will end up having more time to do other things because you're really capable. And once you tick off like that manageable to-do list, you'll be like, oh my God, I have like 2 more hours today to like continue other things off my to-do list for tomorrow. So let me dip into that. You get what I mean? So it's like counterintuitive. The more space you create, the more productive you can be. So let us see here. We have number 13, Mark worked dreams, rhythm, higher self, reality, rest. Okay, yeah, you need to really prioritize your rest, pile number 2. I think that you guys are big workaholics and maybe you really don't know when to take a good rest and pause for yourself. And know that when you pause, it also helps you to be more productive at the end of the day. It's when we keep going. I mean, think about it, like somebody who's running a marathon. If they're running a marathon for like 10 kilometers and they're really tired and they stay, and we say, no, you know what, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna run 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers. Like at some point, your body needs its moment too. We can't keep, telling the body like, hey, no rest for you, your muscles, shut up, stop complaining, get to work now. Like we can't keep telling that to our body. We need to listen to it when it says, when our muscles are saying, hey, give us a moment to recharge, please. We need to rejuvenate. Eat good food so that you have the nutrition in you to run this race, go out and have fulfilling conversations so that you can nourish your brain with good insights and energies as well. So we do need that. The other card is number 7 with herbal craft, regeneration, plant medicine, caretaker, and bloomer. So you are blooming, pile number 2, and you are growing. I think that is something that you really need to recognize because you may feel that you're not. And Spirit is here saying so many times that you are. And again, we have this message of regeneration. You really need to rest. You really need to prioritize that regeneration. Like even plants, like look at this moon. Like we have like both of these cards are like, nighttime cards. So you do need to take care of like your evening and create time, or create a boundary, or rather, for your rest. I'm sensing as well that plant medicine could be really helpful for you. Maybe that is like essential oils. Maybe you'll feel really relaxed when you like put some essential oils in like the like humidifier. Is that what they call it? Like the essential oil machine. When it comes out with the steam for the essential oils. Working with certain herbs maybe that could really rejuvenate you, or going out to nature, receiving nature's very beautiful and just the natural medicine from the natural world around us, that could really rejuvenate you as well. So we have one last card for you. This is going to be a divine abundance affirmation, and it is the card of extraordinary. There's a wild and impetuous uniqueness to you that deserves to be honored. I love this so much. I feel that there may be a part of you that is always trying to control the outcome, control what's going on with you, control everything in your life, when I think there's a part of you, this wild part of you that's just waiting to burst out and just really wanting to be seen. It's that raw energy, it's the emotions. So it starts by really just expressing that. The emotions may not come out great now. Maybe all of it is a lot of sadness, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. But the more we work through that, the more we acknowledge the voice of our heart, the more our heart is going to show us all of the other beautiful things inside of it, including the love, the courage, the faith inside of our heart. And those are the things that can really propel us forward in extraordinary ways. So pile number 2, that is what I see for your reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this reading, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps the channel grow a lot. And if you enjoyed this reading and want to work with me on a private basis, you can do so. I am available for personal reading, so feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I would like to thank Hanafuda Magic, my teachers and guides, for coming through with these amazing messages and wisdom, and I hope to see you guys in a future reading. Bye! Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your November 2023 predictions. So I have already shuffled out some Hanafuda cards and 2 clarifying oracle cards. And these cards are going to give us the overall message for your November 2023. So the first thing that I was feeling when I was tapping to the energies of your reading is this word believe came up very strongly. And then there was also a phrase, suspend your disbelief. There may be a part of you that doesn't really believe in the possibilities for yourself, doesn't really believe in the goodness of the future, like doesn't believe in the promise of a better future, and also believing in the potential inside of you. There are so many aspects of this belief that can be unpacked for each individual, and I think there are just going to be so many different ways to look at it. Because there's so many people watching this, but overall, it is this feeling that we don't really believe that things will get better and that we have what it takes to make things better. So with that said, let us look into our messages and see what else Spirit wants us to know. We have the Chrysanthemum and Tanzaku card in reverse. We have another Tanzaku card, Wisteria and Tanzaku. This time it is in the upright position. And so Tanzakus are basically this ribbon or strip of paper on top of the card. And what people would do right now is that they would write their wishes on a Tanzaku, and then they would hang it up on a bamboo tree to pray for that wish to come true. So there is an element of wanting to manifest certain things for your pal, and it's almost feeling like we are not sure of what we want to put down on this piece of paper. We may not really have the specifics, like how much, let's say you're trying to manifest cash. Well, how much cash do you really want to manifest? Is there a number that you're looking at? And getting clear on that number will give you more grounding into this manifestation, because we can say, I want $1 million. I want to manifest $1 million. Okay, and that's totally fine. But where are you at right now with your cash? Do you have, let's say, $1,000 in your savings? Or are you working towards your first $10,000 in your savings? And are you charting a roadmap to 100,000? Because every single sort of level of cash, and I'm not saying that 10,000, 100,000, and 1 million are the levels, but being able to have 10,000 in your bank account it's its own thing. And then having $100,000 in your bank account is another game altogether. And then having $1 million in your bank account requires totally different skill sets, different knowledge, a different game plan. So where are we at right now? And are we being realistic about our goals? I'm not saying that you can't reach for the stars, but there are certain steps that we may be not seeing. And that can be the feeling like, you know what, I'm never gonna be a millionaire, because that goal feels a little bit far away, and it is, it could be really far away from you. And the sort of missing piece here is that we don't have that game plan there. So the thing that would really help you is to simply look at step one. Instead of like staring at this like huge void up into the end of the tunnel, it's like, well, how do I even get there? There isn't really a clear roadmap. Start with step number one, which is, if you don't have $1,000 in your bank account, work towards that 1,000 first. And once you have the 1,000, maybe say, all right, I know what it takes to have $1,000 now. Let me see, what do I need to do or be to have $5,000, $10,000, and then it goes on. It builds. So it is that building block that we're missing right now, and that could be the reason why our beliefs are, our belief in ourselves is getting affected, because we are seeing a lot of evidence, quote unquote evidence, in the world that says we're never going to be millionaires. We're never going to succeed. We're never going to get married or have a partner, or we're never going to have children, because we see all of these stories online of people saying that, women after the age of 40, it's hard to find partner, it's hard to get pregnant, and blah, blah, blah. And we're getting affected by those messages. Even let's say the millionaire example, like, we hear like, if you're not a millionaire by 30 years old, then it's gonna be hard, like we have these like 30 under 30 bucket list, and there's a whole list pressure about, needing to be financially free by a certain age. And if we're not, that means we've failed. But your life hasn't ended, so you have still the opportunity and the possibility for you to achieve that goal. All we need to do is to chart out a roadmap that allows us to get there. And therefore, there is both an element of dreaming big and also having the practical grounding steps in reality. And that could be the missing piece in a lot of people's manifestations. It's just we're shooting an arrow when our bow is like, let's say you're like, you're trying to like shoot really far, but then you're not trained in archery. So obviously we're not going to hit the target because we're not trained. We didn't learn archery. So we need to start by learning archery, right? And if we haven't learned archery and we're trying to shoot at this target and we miss and we get so upset by ourselves and we get so frustrated and we say, it must be the wind that blew my arrow off course, and it must be all of these different things, well, we haven't learned archery, so it comes back to that grounding, like, what are the things we need to learn, do, be, lessons that are coming through for us, especially if we want to manifest love or cash. You start by learning about how love plays out in your life. What are some patterns of relationships? What are some patterns you have in relationships that may not be serving you? And what are some things that you want to be in a relationship that can help to attract that healthy partner, healthy, good, romantic, long-term connection? You get what I mean? So yeah, I feel like I didn't really dive into the actual messages, or not actual messages, the actual meanings of each card. Like, I didn't really unpack for you what wisteria, chrysanthemum, or plum blossom is, but it's there. This entire all that I've been saying corresponds to each of those cards. So Spirit was just like really giving this like big picture download of like what's going on. So I hope that makes sense for you. Let us look at your final card. How do I? All right. We have, Iris, making new choices. Iris is all about making new choices in our lives, knowing that we recognize our destiny. Oh, okay, something really cool is happening here. So the plum blossom suit, or rather the wisteria suit comes before the iris suit. And the wisteria invites us to look at our destiny. What is really unfolding for us? What is in divine's plan for us? And then when we know what is our destiny, we then need to make some choices. Like, hey, you know what? If it isn't in my destiny, my calling, and it is in my path, let's say to be a painter, to be an artist, then I need to make the choice. Do I need to go to art school? Do I need to start selling my paintings online? Do I need to go to a gallery and speak to somebody who can help to put my paintings up for exhibitions? Like, we then need to start making choices to start walking this path. So in the month of November, what is really coming through for you is that healing. We're healing this sort of issue with belief. We're healing the part of ourselves that lost hope with ourselves. We're healing the part of ourselves that doesn't know how to trust our gifts and trust that we're capable. And then we're getting really grounded and practical, and really, I feel that a lot of you are writing things down. Like, what is step one for me? What is really in the immediate next step in my path? And what do I need to do or be to achieve that? And when you start taking that next step, when you make the choice, Iris, when you make that choice into the next step, that is when things start to unfold for you, because the energies just begin to, like, when you take step one, step number two starts to show up, step number three starts to show up, and when you take step number five, step number six starts to show up. So it goes like that. So you're in that step-by-step phase now. So let us open up. I feel like I've spoken enough about that. Let us open up these two cards, see what else. Okay, we have reflection and movement. Yeah, so take time to reflect. What has been working? What has not been working out? Where have we lost faith in ourselves? And take action, movement. Things will start moving for you once you get clear about what is it that you want to do. Like, yes, we have the big picture, this like long-term goal, but what is the immediate step? And once we identify that, the energies will just start moving. All right, so pile number, wow, the siren, it's just going off. All right, we let that card pass. Okay, let us continue. We have the next two cards for you about your November 2023, and it is number 11 with transition cauliflower. Yeah, you are in this transition phase. We're moving out of a certain mindset of feeling that we're not good enough, feeling that we don't have what it takes to achieve our goals, and transitioning into a different space where we know that we're capable, where we have a totally different game plan. So that's coming through for you in November. And we have number 26 with continuance apple. So Spirit wants to remind you that the game is still on. You are still continuing on the path that you set out on. Just because you've been faced with certain rejections or failure doesn't mean that the road has ended. And just because we're transitioning doesn't mean that we're giving up on anything. Like, just because you're working towards $1,000 doesn't mean that we're giving up on the 1 million goal. It means that we're even more committed to that 1 million goal. And there is a continuance here. Everything that you've been through in the past was not wasted. That's really coming through strongly from Spirit right now. All of the failures, all of the lessons, the wisdom that you've gained from the past, nothing was wasted. And you can use all of those things to power up your current goals and your current manifestation. Your wisdom is going to help you shine in this next phase of your life. Pile number 3. So let us check out next two cards. Oh, okay. Very green cards here. We have your dreams need a practical plan, full moon and Taurus. Basically, that is what we've been saying. That is basically what we have been saying for you. Pile number 3. It is the next immediate step that you need to plan out and start executing in the month of November. And then we have you are good enough, full moon in Virgo. I believe I just literally said that we may feel that we're not good enough and we're healing that and we're transitioning out of that, and that's what's going on for you. Again, just because you're working on yourself, another example, just because you're focusing on yourself at the moment doesn't mean that you are therefore not going to manifest a mate. Therefore, it means that you're not good enough for a mate. It doesn't mean that. It just means that in this journey of attracting a mate, what is needed for you now is to heal a certain aspect of yourself. That's it. And we're still working on attracting our mate. And so you are good enough. You're good enough for your goals. The path towards your goals is winding. Some people have it like straight arrow, like it just goes. And for you, it's different. You go through a lot of different curves and different what do you call it? Like, yeah, winding of this path. And therefore for you, it may feel like it's taking a longer time. But I'm also hearing that we're working through karma. We're working through the lessons that we were meant to learn in this lifetime. And this is your life. And so don't resent, don't feel resentful of the life that you have right now, the experiences, because you, in a much grander scheme of things, we signed up for our lives. We signed up for all of these lessons, all of these experiences that we've gone through. Like the one person who's super rich, who gets born in a rich family and somehow has everything gifted to them from the day that they were born. They are experiencing that life for a reason. And if we are constantly looking at those people and thinking, why is that not me? We would never then be able to see the lessons in front of us and learn them. We would not be able to see the gifts that we were born with. We have such a limited vocabulary of gifts and blessings, I feel, because a lot of the times, especially in our world, we look at the 3D gifts, right? We look at money, we look at house, we look at your car, and those are, obviously we look at those things because we can see it, we can feel it, we can touch it. And that's why we, a lot of conversations about in terms of how people compare their wealth or their blessings come from that space. And it makes sense because that is the 3D world. But then there are also other gifts that we don't recognize. And these other gifts have an equal, if not more, impact on how we can create results and extraordinary things in our lives. The gift of, let's say, what is that? The word just escaped me. Like being a psychic, like for instance, that's not something that you can see or feel. And sometimes people would just judge you if you say that you're psychic. But if you have that gift, it allows you to really tap into your intuition so very much more, be able to make wise choices from a space of intuitiveness, right? And having that psychic sense of knowing that something is not wrong and being the first to react to a certain situation. That is a gift, and that may help you in the intangible ways if we know how to apply it. But if we don't recognize our gift, how are we going to apply them? How are we going to apply, let's say, the gift of love that's flowing through us, or the gift of the gift of I'm getting tongue-tied too, because I think I also have quite a limited vocabulary of what gifts are. But let's say clairvoyance, the gift of clairvoyance, or the gift of kindness, having that compassion and kind heart. If we don't recognize these gifts, how do we apply them? So in November, it's a huge, huge month for you to recognize the gifts and to stop putting yourself down just because you don't have those material 3D gifts that other people have. Because you're not lesser than them just because you don't have a mate, just because you don't have a house, or it's not just because you rent and you don't own a house doesn't mean that you're lesser than. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so enough about that. Let us take a look at our next two cards. We have number 29, drawing down the moon, divine feminine, source, channel, and stillness. And we have number 26, burning man, collective power, supreme prayer, 3 of cups, and celebration. So there is much to be celebrated about. Was it your pal? Oh wait, I feel that it was a previous pal, but I was talking about celebration for another pal, I think. But yeah, it's time to celebrate what you have achieved so far. I mean, we're in November, so you've done a lot from January all the way to November. Over the course of these 10, 11 months, what are your achievements? It's time to celebrate that. I'm also hearing that there's going to be celebration for you where it's like you hit that milestone. When you say that I'm gonna take that first step, you'll end up taking that first step and hitting the milestone of whatever it entails in that first step. And there's gonna be so much to celebrate because you're getting that affirmation that, hey, you know what? I have what it takes. And if I can take this first step, I have what it takes to take the step number 2 and step number 3 and so on and so forth. With number 29, drawing down the moon, one thing that I'm hearing from for this card is that you guys are manifesting in a different way. Where in the past there was a lot of divine masculine type of manifesting, where it was a lot of doing, a lot of yang energy. Now we're in the feminine, where we're receiving. We're learning how to attract. We're learning how to sit back, relax, and allow things to come to us. And so it's a different game or a different experience that you are going through in the month of November, where we can attract. And it's so magical, you know? So pile number 3, we're going to take a look at this final card, and this card is going to tell us a divine abundance blessing or affirmation for you. And it is a card of companionship. Giving someone your complete presence is an astonishing gift. I love that. So especially for some of you who have been praying for a partner or a mate, companionship is coming up strongly for you in the month of November. And I'm hearing that it could both be companionship in the form of new person coming in, or recognizing the companions you already have in your life right now and giving thanks to those people. And once we start giving thanks for the companionship in our life, that gratitude makes way for more companionship to come in. And so first of all, we need to recognize that we are not alone. We're not lonely here. We do have people around us. And that then allows spirit to, or rather allows the energies to be like, hey, you know, she's aligned, he's aligned to community, to companionship. Let's bring him more of such good connections. The other thing I'm hearing is that you are somebody who, your gift is in giving people your complete presence. Your presence to people is a gift. Maybe you're really good at holding space for others. You're just really good at accepting people for who they are without judging them for how much money they have in their bank account, without judging them for their looks, without judging them based on their race or their gender identity or any of those things. You just really know how to accept and love people the way that they are. And that is your gift. So in November, it's also the time for you to really acknowledge and apply that gift. So pile number 3, that is what I see for your reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this reading, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It would really help this channel grow. And yeah, I would like to thank Hanafuda Magic, my teachers and guides, for coming through with these amazing messages and wisdom. And the last thing I want to mention is that if you enjoyed this reading and want to work with me on a private basis, I am offering personal readings. So feel free to check out the link in the description box below with more details. So thank you so much again, pile number 3, for watching, and I hope to see you guys in a future video. Bye! Hi, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading about your November 2023 predictions. So we are going to take a look at the Hanafuda cards that I've already shuffled for you. These are going to tell us the overall themes and messages for November. And then we have 2 cards, oracle cards, to clarify our messages here. So of course, the first card that you picked is the Cherry Blossom card. And let us look at the next cards. We have Plum Blossom in the reverse position. And then we have Peony with Tanzaku in reverse, as well as, Wisteria also in reverse. That's interesting. Okay, let us look at our 2 clarifying cards. We have Surrender and Caution. Interesting. Okay. It's almost like interesting because Surrender and Caution are a little bit different energies, because surrender is just really opening our palms and surrendering to the divine. And there's also an energy of caution coming through for you. So let us look into that. Let us see what's going on. the first card of cherry blossom. Cherry blossom is a flower, of course. You guys would know about it. It really blooms very quickly and it's only around for a very short period of time. So cherry blossom often symbolizes impermanence, of change, and the importance of being in the now time. So whatever fears and anxieties you may have, the more we tap into that fear, the more we allow that fear to run our lives, the more we will repeat the past, especially if you have a fear from something that happened in the past and we're letting that fear run our lives. It's a past energy running our lives now, and it's going to be more likely that certain past situations end up repeating themselves because we're playing into the patterns of the past. So in November is a big time for you to shift into a completely, well, not completely because it's not so drastic, but to shift the areas in your life that are ready to be changed, to shift those things into a place where you're more present in the moment. So I think that is what this caution card is saying. It's about being cautious not to feed into the past, especially if, let's say, we find ourselves thinking about the past, feeling resentful over situations or people in the past. There is an element of, we need to talk things out. Maybe we need to speak to a therapist to work it out. And there's also the other element of just stop. Like, when you catch yourself thinking about something, just stop thinking about it, because nothing is going to happen with us thinking about it. Nothing is going to change. The past isn't going to change when we get all worked up in this resentment energy, when we start fantasizing about what we're going to say to people, what we're going to do to them, how we're going to take revenge on people. It still isn't going to change the past. And I'm sure a lot of you guys in this pile are not actively taking revenge. You're just feeling very resentful, and that's why you may start fantasizing about such situations. And the thing is, that simply comes from a place of, getting stuck in the past. So that is the caution here. We need to let go of the past. And letting go is both a process and it's a process and it's also a choice, is what Spirit is saying. It happens at every single moment. When we catch ourselves getting stuck again, we make a choice to let go. And over time, all of these moment-to-moment choices then build up this sort of timeline, this process of us letting go, and eventually we come to a point where we feel a lot more neutral about this situation because we've done the work to let go. We've done the work to not indulge in the pain, to not poke ourselves any further with this painful past. And then it starts to feel, well, not so triggering, not so painful because of the work, the healing work, the letting go work that we've done. So the next 3 cards, let us look at them. We have Plum Blossom in reverse. Plum Blossom, which talks about hope, feeling that there's something to look forward to in our future. And there may be a part of you that doesn't feel that way. Okay, and the messages are tying in really nicely now. So first of all, we're losing hope with regards to the future. And Peony and the Tanzaku card this is all about feeling really good about ourselves and feeling like we have that yum factor, the X factor, what it takes to create beautiful things in our lives. And there's that part of you that doesn't feel that way. You feel that you've lost your X factor. You've lost what gives you your edge as a person, what gives you your uniqueness as an individual. It's like you faded into the distance and you don't feel you. And then we have this card of Wisteria in reverse. Wisteria talks about destiny. This, regardless of what has happened to you in the past, what remains true is that right here, right now, there is still a timeline flowing through you. Your destiny is still flowing through you. And even if you don't acknowledge it, even if you don't see that your destiny and your path, it is there. So when we get caught up in the past, all the more we cannot see the present path that we have in front of us. And I think that a lot of you guys may be kind of like trapped in a mindset where because of everything that happened in the past, we're afraid of the future. We're afraid of what could happen, and we're like looking left and right constantly, thinking like something's gonna happen. And so the caution, the red flag is not in the future. The red flag is in constantly looking in the past. So shift your red flag. Like we have our red flags there, but it's when we overindulge in it that it's not healthy. So yeah, like for instance, if you've met someone who cheated on you in the past and they had some defining qualities of a cheater, let's say they are always make like they don't let you see their phone, they have a lot of secrets from you. It feels like they're always kind of like not clear on like where they're going, what they're doing. And when you see this in your next relationship, you go like, oh my god, cheater, your PTSD gets triggered. And it's, in a way, it's good to have those red flags. Like if somebody's always seems to be hiding things from you, that's a red flag. Maybe you want to explore that with your partner. But at the same time, know that this person that you're with right now is a totally different person from the person you were with in the past. So we have red flags, but we also can't keep applying the same rule, the same measurement to every single person we meet in our lives. Maybe there's just somebody who really enjoys their privacy and they don't want their partner as well to pry into things that they don't feel ready to share. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's good to have boundaries as partners, even if you share a lot of your lives together. So we have red flags, we have certain things that we're on the lookout for, but we can't keep living by the rules of the past because the rules change. Like being boyfriend and girlfriend with somebody when you're 16 years old is different from having a steady committed relationship when you're 25 or 26 or 30 or let's say 40 years old. Like you meet someone new when you're 40 and that person is also in their 40s. Like you in your 40s is a very different person from you in your 20s. So if we're constantly applying the same yardstick to every single person we meet based on our past experiences, well, guess what? We're gonna repeat the past because we're measuring everything based on past standards. So it's a nuance to it. You got to discern. And I don't think that, in a reading like this, we can definitively say that, yes, this person is not good for you or whatever it is. Like we need to be discerning in our day-to-day lives. Like, is my judgment of this person or this situation correct? And if I'm using the red flags that I've picked up from the past, is it accurate? Does it work? And if it's not, then well, that's fine. It's not that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong or that you got it wrong or that you evaluated things wrong. It is that black and white, wrong and right energy that may be keeping you stuck. And another thing I'm hearing is that maybe in the past, people have been making you wrong. You've been made to feel that you were gaslit almost, like, like somebody cheated on you and they made you feel like it was your fault, that it's because you didn't do a good enough job as a partner, therefore they cheated on you. And you've internalized that message. You've been feeling that so afraid to be wrong. And you also feel angry because you were made wrong in an area where you didn't do anything wrong. And that is it. You didn't do anything wrong. So if you need someone to tell you that, this is the message here from Spirit. You didn't do anything wrong. So stop trying to make yourself right and everyone else in your life wrong. Stop trying to make yourself wrong and everyone in your life right. It is when we start to have this black and white energy, all or nothing. It's either you're 100% in or you're 100% out. Like, okay, I'm referring to like people in your life. Like it's either they're 100% in or they're 100% out. When we have this kind of really extreme energy going on, it may not work well for us because there's a lot of gray in this world. People have good and bad to them. And just because they have some bad traits doesn't mean that they are, unworthy people. Because we all have the good and bad inside of us. So we can't determine somebody's worthiness based on the bad things that we see inside of them. we also have to recognize the good. Okay, so that's why I think there's an element of surrendering here for you, pile number 4. We're being called to surrender all of the pain. We're called to surrender the past, surrender the challenges to spirit, and trust that you know how to move forward. Your higher self knows how to guide you. We don't have to refer all the time to our past selves. We have our higher self to defer to as well. We have spirit to defer to. It is time to surrender all of this pain inside of you to spirit, such that you can then make space for healing, for cleaning, and then to invite in what you really, really want in your life. That was a deep message, pile number 4. I felt that the message that was coming through was a little bit of a tough love message, but at the same time, I think you're so ready. I think you're so done. You're so done trying to like evaluate everyone, and you're so done turning your head left and right all the time, getting afraid of what could possibly happen. And there's a better and different way to do this. And that is the love coming through from spirit and your spirit guides to you. So let us check out our next few messages. We have number 12, affection with the sorrow. So beautiful. And then we have number 5, grounding with potato. Yeah, we do need a lot of grounding, coming back to our center, coming back to our body, coming back to love, and feeling this deep connection with nature, this deep connection with the whole world, and just really grounding ourselves in that connected oneness energy again. We've been feeling so separated. We've been feeling like the world is against us, that people are against us, and we're tired of that. We're tired of living that way. So put your feet on the ground. If it's not right now, put your feet on the ground, and if you can, put your feet down on earth, in nature. When you're out, put your feet down on the ground and really feel that oneness, and that's going to make you feel so much more love and affection for yourself, and also affection for people. It's this juicy energy coming through where it's like, I love myself. I have so much affection for the physical things in my life. You know, I always say thank you to my laptop, because my laptop supports, like I do so many things on my laptop. It's my digital brain, really. And I say thank you to my laptop. I have so much affection for my laptop because it does so much for me. I have so much affection for my beautiful skulls because they bring in so much wisdom. You know, when we start having affection for even the physical things in our lives, especially physical things that we don't give thanks to, we begin to build and expand on the love. That is so cute of a message to come through. Okay, so let us... Oh, okay, you have 3 Moonology cards. The other groups had 2. So let's check them out. Work through your fears. New moon in Scorpio. What have we been talking about? Pile number 4. Work through your fears. Yeah, absolutely. The fears, we're feeding them from the past. And it's all of those energy of the past that is projecting into the future. So work through them. What is that? What is it that you're really, really afraid of? For instance, an example here. We're afraid of people cheating on us, yes. But the deeper fear is that we're afraid of getting abandoned. Let's say, for instance. And so that fear of abandonment didn't come, or most likely didn't come from that person that cheated on you. It most likely came from an even earlier part of your life. And that's how it always works, you know. A lot of these things, a lot of these fears that we hold from in ourselves stem from childhood, from that trauma, from that experience in the past. It doesn't mean that that person that cheated on you is therefore excused of their behavior. But by examining the fear, we're going deeper into what is really, really making us scared, making us anxious, making us worried. And it helps us to then cut away the cords of energies that may keep us kind of stuck, right? Basically walking around in circles in this fear of abandonment. I hope that makes sense. That was a pretty deep message here. We have confidence is your key to success, new moon in Leo. And conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. So I think that your confidence has really been affected. I feel that there were a lot of messages from people in the past that kept putting your confidence down. And it's interesting because Spirit is saying that is also your lesson. Your lesson is also to reignite your confidence, to know that what people say is not as important as what you think about yourself. And what they say does not have an effect on your confidence in yourself. So, especially if there was a teacher who kept putting you down in school, how do I phrase this? It's like, yes, that hurt us. Yes, that created that imprint in our lives. But how long can we keep that imprint? How long can we say that we're not confident of ourselves because of that middle school teacher, right? Like at some point we do need to learn to let go and to heal that part of ourselves and to regain the confidence that has been impacted. So there is some healing here with your confidence, and confidence is your key to success. Yeah. That is perhaps the missing piece. We're not confident of our capabilities when we actually are very capable. So I think if you're afraid to take the first step in any direction, November is the month to try. And try without having a lot of expectations about yourself. Try without putting a bunch of like pressure on yourself. Just try, coming from that space of like, you know what, I'm a newbie, I'm just trying it out and see how it goes. And I think you're gonna get surprised with what you're capable of. Conclusions are within reach. So some things are, endings are in sight. Some things are coming into, basically an end. I don't know why I had to say that in two different ways. But yeah, endings are in sight for you. Whatever challenges you've been going through, those difficult situations, there are some conclusions that are going to assist you to end those chapters in your life. Insights and wisdom coming through. Okay, so let us check out your next two cards. We have number 21 with Baraka, power, strength, force, and expansion. I love this because you're really standing up for yourself. I feel that there's so much confidence with this fist pumping up here. You're really learning how to stand up for yourself, to listen to yourself for once, to trust yourself, to surrender, to be who you are and allow your power to shine. This is so beautiful. And then we have number 16, telekinesis, influence, willpower, control, and obstacles. Interesting. So I like how there are these like flowers. Like it feels like almost, is it the same flower? But like almost looking like, I mean, I think these are roses. I'm not sure what these flowers are, but okay. This red flower. Obstacles. We are having that willpower to overcome the obstacles in our lives. We're done. We're done allowing the obstacles to control our lives. We're done allowing the past to control us. We have that willpower and that, the strength to push through in November. You're really regaining that strength within yourself in November. Some way, somehow, you guys are just feeling that burst of energy and just like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of living this way. I'm not going to enter 2024 with this same mindset. I'm going to change things up and I'm going to roll up my sleeves and stop whatever has not been working out. I'm going to throw them out, discard them without fear, without looking back, and I'm going to move forward. And that is so beautiful. So the last card we have for you is a Divine Abundance Affirmation card for your month of November. And we have guidance. So beautiful. When you make Divine Intelligence your foundation, you finally have a fixed star to follow. You are so very guided, pile number 2. Ooh, I called you pile number 2. Pile number 4. You are so very guided. there is so much wisdom pouring through from you. You're not lesser than, more than, you are just you. And when we keep trying to evaluate whether or not we're worthy or we're not worthy, we lose track of the journey and the path that we're on. You have your destiny. You have a North Star, pound number 4. I think some of you feel that you don't have a North Star. You don't have a purpose in life. You don't have your destiny, but you do, pound number 4. You do. So you're really rediscovering that in the month of November and feeling that now you have this compass in your life and you know where to go. And it feels so good. It feels so grounding. And it's so beautiful. So pound number 4, that is what I see for your reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this reading and want to support this channel, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That would really help me out a lot. And if you want to work with me on a personal basis, I am available for private readings at this time. So feel free to book a reading with me in the link in the description box below. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I would like to thank Hanafuda Magic, my teachers and guides, for coming through with these amazing messages and wisdom. And I hope to see you guys in a future video. Bye!